Welcome to another episode of Match B2B Insights. I'm Brenda, and today I'm joined by Fluman, CEO of Match B2B, Brian Newman, who leads sales and SDR strategy, and Daniel Weiss, a go-to-market and revenue infrastructure strategist. In this episode, we're addressing one of the most underestimated problems in B2B organizations, the unclear boundary between marketing and sales. On paper, the difference sounds obvious. In reality, even in well-run SaaS and technology companies, that boundary is often poorly defined. And when it is, the cost shows up fast, in lost pipeline, longer sales cycles, and frustrated teams. At its core, marketing is responsible for creating demand and shaping expectations. Sales is responsible for turning that demand into real decisions and real revenue. When those responsibilities blur, organizations don't just get confused, they lose efficiency. This conversation is about why that happens, what it looks like in real companies, and why getting this distinction wrong is far more expensive than most leaders realize.
Absolutely. So many times I hear, our sales aren't working. Let's just run more campaigns. But if marketing's job is to bring the right people to the door, sales is supposed to know what to do with them. When you treat these as one job, you get finger-pointing and, honestly, a leaky funnel.
Yeah, and I still remember this SaaS startup. Tiny team, very ambitious. But they had literally the same person doing both demand gen and closing deals. The result? Their campaigns drew tons of leads, but no one followed up on time, so competitors swooped right in. The CEO thought more website traffic would magically mean more sales. It actually helped the competition see who was interested.
Classic. I see that with founders who want their SDRs to do it all. One day cold emailing, next day managing paid campaigns, and maybe closing deals on Friday. And then they call me about why none of it's predictable. There's a reason marketing and sales are two disciplines. Different skill sets, different mindsets.
Spot on, all of you. And if the lines get blurry, the feedback loops disappear. Marketing thinks they're sending sales gold, sales thinks the leads are junk. That's when the cracks in revenue show up. Let's pull back for a second. There's this model, think of it as a triangle, with strategy at the top, marketing and sales as the base. If you get the strategy piece right, everything aligns. The evidence is clear. Aberdeen Group found companies with strong marketing-sales collaboration are up to 31% more likely to hit their revenue goals.
I actually saw this in action at a fintech startup. They were stuck at like 20 customers for months. But once they got strategy, marketing, and sales working together, like really talking, not just sitting in adjacent Slack channels, their customer base doubled in under a year. They even started winning awards for innovation. Strategy is what ties everything together.
Exactly. It's not enough to have a marketing plan and a sales goal. You need a system where marketing feeds well-qualified leads to sales. Sales gives actionable feedback, and strategy ensures both sides are pointed in the right direction. That's what creates sustainable growth.
Let's get concrete here. The 4 Ps. Product, price, place, promotion. It's old school, sure, but it's kind of the minimum standard if you want any real alignment. If your marketing team isn't thinking about how the product is delivered, priced, positioned, and promoted, good luck getting sales on board later.
I saw this firsthand at an AI company not too long ago. We tightened up their use of the 4 Ps, especially around messaging and customer journey touchpoints. What happened? Customer satisfaction went up, NPS improved, and their churn finally started dropping. Customers want more than just features. They demand value at every stage of their buying experience. Innovation isn't just about new tech. It's about how you communicate and deliver that value.
Exactly, Daniel. And just like we talked about on the episode about trust as an operating system, the customer expects the messaging to feel relevant from the very first email all the way to onboarding, not just the initial pitch.
Brand is a decision made by marketing. Full stop. If your sales team is improvising on brand or pushing ad hoc discounts, you're playing with fire. Think about Toyota versus Lexus. Toyota knew they needed a separate luxury brand, not just another model. That wasn't a sales decision. It was years of market research and brand strategy.
Yeah, if you let sales drive brand, you end up with situations like the whole 4 for 100 era in Israeli bookstores, where aggressive sales tactics actually destroyed the brand and the wider market. The fallout didn't just hurt margins, it actually wrecked brand perception for years.
It's not just books. Look at companies like Osem. When they acquired small bakeries, sometimes they'd keep dual brands, sometimes they'd kill one off entirely. Those are marketing decisions. If sales got their way, every product would be sold for a lower price under a single label. And then, no one knows what your brand means.
Right, and once you start letting sales goals drive positioning instead of marketing, you lose all the long game advantages. Suddenly you're just another commodity, downward price spiral, and the market perception tanks.
Here's the thing. Marketing structures value, pricing, and positioning. Sales runs the deals, the discounts, the one-time offers. They should never be the same thing. If you let sales throw out random discounts, you might close short-term revenue, but you'll train your market to expect every future deal to be a race to the bottom.
Oh, for sure. I've seen internal sales teams, especially under pressure, push through discounts without coordination. And suddenly, we're not just losing margin, we're losing credibility with the market. I remember at Match B2B, we once lost a chunk of business in Germany because a sales-driven discount got out there without marketing buy-in. It took a year to rebuild that trust.
It becomes a cycle. Every time marketing tries to position as premium, sales undercuts. The solution? Clear rules, shared targets, and always strategy dictating pricing moves, not the quarterly panic.
It's especially dangerous when entering new markets. You show up with a price slash, competitors see you as desperate, and the buyer starts negotiating even harder next time. Long term, it's just not worth it.
Real integration between marketing and sales comes down to feedback. Marketing provides insights on trends and shifting needs. Sales brings in-ground feedback from customer conversations. You need a live dialogue that actually leads somewhere.
Yeah, think about teams using dynamic hubs, like HubSpot or Salesforce communities. That's where hybrid forums open up. Marketing, sales, even customer success, sitting together and troubleshooting in real time. I remember a health tech startup where direct dialogue between support, marketing, and sales resulted in custom-fit messaging for every kind of client they had. It changes everything.
If you're not getting fresh feedback loops, you're guessing. There's nothing more frustrating than chasing best practices that aren't even relevant to what's actually going on in the field.
Yeah, and the best orgs I've seen are those who treat the marketing sales feedback loop like a heartbeat. Constant, reliable, and everyone feels accountable for sharing what they're seeing. Not just the wins, but especially the friction points.
Organizational structure can make or break go-to-market success. Let's be clear. Companies like Warby Parker succeeded by reinventing the customer experience, connecting all the dots between marketing, sales, service. If you silo those teams, you get the opposite result. Look at Stymatsky. The aggressive sales play damaged not only their image, but ultimately their business model.
This is particularly true with SDR structure, by the way. If you lump SDR and sales together without a marketing buffer, you end up burning leads and damaging relationships, especially when expanding from Israel to North America. I've seen companies lose key deals because their SDRs weren't given the independence and direction they needed. The U.S. buyers, they expect every step to be structured and professional.
That's why so many startups stall at the lots of activity, no real pipeline phase. They haven't built scalable, well-defined lines between marketing, SDR, and closing sales. When you do get it right, it's a flywheel. When not, it's just a leaky bucket. Something that gets overlooked is just how different global markets really are. In B2B, strategy has to adapt. What works in B2C is not plug and play. Like, look at Slack's lead nurturing with content, or how Trello really leaned into practical value for teams. The split between demand creation and demand fulfillment is a lot clearer than people realize.
Absolutely. And it's not just tech. I remember talking to European clients. They expect personalized, niche differentiated messaging. Whereas US buyers, sometimes, they just want a consistent pitch. Same for everyone in procurement. It's a completely different rhythm and expectation. If you don't adapt, your funnel clogs up.
Many companies think a single campaign will resonate everywhere. It won't. Localization, segmentation, adapting both messaging and sales process. It's not optional anymore. That's the only way to keep both marketing and sales effective in multi-market strategies. Everyone wants the magic fix. Let's just install a new CRM, automate everything, and sales and marketing will magically be aligned. But the tech is not the solution by itself. If you automate a broken workflow, you get chaos, but faster. You have to build the framework and do the cross-department work manually, test it, and then layer in the automation and AI. Otherwise, AI just amplifies the confusion.
And don't get me started on AI-driven forecasting in Salesforce when the data's garbage to begin with. You have to have discipline and boundaries. Otherwise, technology becomes a distraction, not an enabler.
Manual sync first, good structure, then go deep with integration tools. If you do it the other way around, you end up with nobody trusting the dashboards and everyone blaming the tech.
Right, and part of the art is making sure the systems actually facilitate real insight sharing, not just another chore.
Here's something nearly everyone gets wrong. Marketing and sales require fundamentally different people. Marketers are rational, strategic, data-driven. Salespeople, good ones at least, work with empathy, intuition, emotional intelligence. There's almost never someone world-class at both.
And that's why you have to clearly define responsibilities. Marketing needs to own differentiation and positioning. Sales builds relationships and closes. If you confuse authority, you'll just have turf wars. Hey, Benny, didn't you deal with a crazy lead dispute back in the 90s?
Don't remind me. We were fighting about who owned which hot leads every week. I finally forced the team to build a measurement and tracking system for distribution. It was the only way to stop endless arguments. Division of labor, trust, and measurement. That's what's needed.
If there's a golden rule, it's this. Set shared KPIs across marketing and sales. It forces both teams to have current, aligned data and to care about more than just their own dashboards. Otherwise, nobody's aiming for the same target, and you get what some call the blame game.
It goes beyond KPIs. You need joint reviews, regular reports, and open performance analysis. Those highlight the real gaps, where leads get stuck, where handoffs break, and what needs immediate attention. When everyone has accountability for the entire funnel, suddenly the small problems get solved early, not after revenue's been missed for a quarter.
And you have to make sync meetings a ritual. Not the update your boss stuff, but cross-team discussions about how to get better together. That's where actual process improvements happen.
It's not just about defining KPIs, but having shared ownership of those KPIs. Regular review meetings to analyze outcomes, spot the gaps, update the plan, those should be baked into your calendar. Without discipline, amazing alignment quickly unravels.
Yeah, and promoting a culture of constant feedback means you steer with real market intelligence, not just rear-view mirror data. Those regular reviews, plus tight process improvements, that's how you stay agile and relevant.
It may sound simple on paper, but getting marketing and sales to review the same numbers in the same room, at least monthly, that's what sets apart predictable growth orgs from the rest of the market.
Let's talk tech again. Build CRM and automation infrastructure that connects marketing and sales. These aren't just nice to have anymore. They're what let you identify, segment, and prioritize customers in real time.
And make sure you're actively using AI to mine data, surface insights, and guide real-time adjustments to both marketing and sales outreach. That way you don't just track what already happened. You predict and fix before you lose deals.
But don't forget internal training. If your people don't know how to actually use all these tools, nothing will stick. You need regular enablement to keep the systems useful.
Exactly. The smartest stack in the world won't help if adoption is an afterthought. You want collaboration? Build a system for voluntary feedback between marketing and sales, customer satisfaction surveys, recurring meetings, even workshop sessions where people actually talk about what's working or not. Make feedback less scary, more expected, and track the actions taken based on it. That's what drives real partnership and results.
But don't stop at collecting feedback. Set clear metrics for analyzing it and fast-track fixes for what you learn. Anything less, you'll just end up talking, not doing.
Right, and you've got to encourage a culture of openness. Listen, iterate, and keep tracking improvements over time. That's what breeds resilience, trust, and constant adaptability.
A shared CRM system is table stakes at this point. It has to track all communications, leads, every handoff. If you bolt marketing automation onto sales automation, you reduce errors and can actually react to customer needs in real time. But without structured monthly training, people default to old habits.
And don't just roll out new tools and call it a day. Track usage and effectiveness. If adoption is lagging, dig in and figure out why. Success is never set and forget.
Monthly enablement sessions are crucial. Not just, here's a new button, but practical demos and Q&A that build actual skills. There's nothing more powerful than scheduled, regular meetings between marketing and sales for updates, challenges, and opportunities. Keeps everyone aligned and surfaces issues before they become crises.
Implement a real-time dashboard too. Reflect successes, joint metrics, and trouble spots. And use that as the basis for real-time fixes, not just end-of-quarter finger-pointing.
Practice two-way feedback and actively recognize wins. If teams feel their contributions are seen, morale and belonging go up, and so does performance. Strong partnerships are built on shared credit.
Back to the feedback loop. Make recurring, voluntary feedback between teams part of your DNA. Regular satisfaction surveys, collaborative workshops, open discussions. These aren't extras, they're core. A clear process for fast action on any issues raised, that's what secures ongoing business results.
Track feedback metrics and monitor the impact of changes over time. If the leadership is genuinely listening and iterating, you'll see improvements in trust, collaboration, and ultimately, results.
Most importantly, keep an open mind. Things will change, so should your processes. That's the only way to continuously adapt in real time.
None of this sticks without a proper training plan. Helping staff master the tech and processes and making sure it's not just a one-time onboarding.
Build control mechanisms into your operations. Continually track team performance and surface issues quickly so you can fix problems before they spiral.
Celebrate joint successes too. Shared achievements build goodwill and commitment between teams, making the whole partnership tighter and more resilient.
Long-term partnership isn't just a function of projects, it's about learning. Regularly update staff training so everyone stays sharp with the tools and integrates new best practices for collaboration.
Establish ongoing review systems to monitor performance and spot challenges early. No more, it's someone else's problem.
Shared events and recognition also help. If you create rituals of celebration around partnership milestones, you get higher trust, more buy-in, and much less siloed behavior.
How do you build a real culture of collaboration? Co-run communication and understanding workshops, schedule regular cross-team progress reviews, and, this gets underrated, design incentive programs that reward team wins, not just individual ones. It's not enough for sales or marketing to hit their number. The organization only grows when both sides pull together.
And encourage teams to share not just successes, but struggles too. The faster everyone learns from small failures, the fewer spectacular ones you'll have to clean up later.
In the end, the best measure of partnership is when teams solve each other's problems, not just their own. If you get that right, conflict is replaced by momentum.
Skill building is everything. Joint marketing and sales workshops focusing on communication, conflict solving, and building mutual understanding will break down a ton of old walls. Don't just assume skills transfer naturally. Run simulations, put everyone in each other's shoes, and make trust building a core objective.
Schedule expectation setting and goal alignment regularly, not just a kickoff. Focusing on relationship and mutual understanding avoids a ton of the who owns what drama down the line.
Put in place shared playbooks and process reviews. It keeps everyone on the same page about customer handoffs, scenario handling, and feedback exchange, which leads to fewer dropped balls.
So, who sets the rules between marketing and sales? That's the million-dollar question. Sometimes CEOs get too hands-on, sometimes too hands-off. What matters most is how the CEO or exec team actually engages. Are they strategically aligning both teams, or are they just playing referee when tempers flare?
I've seen plenty of disasters from leadership vacuum, where no one's clear who owns the go-to-market playbook, so both teams run in circles. Conversely, heavy-handed executives can stifle innovation, especially if they micromanage campaign or deal-level decisions.
And I'll tell you, when marketing and sales leaders clash, the spiral can be brutal. If you don't resolve those crises constructively, the whole organization feels it. Pipeline stalls, morale drops, and the market notices.
The answer isn't who wins. It's about who can foster smart dialogue, mutual respect, and coherent accountability. That's what keeps everything moving forward.
As we wrap this series, it's important to say this clearly. The gap between marketing and sales is not a failure. It's a design choice. Every organization has seams. The question is whether those seams are managed or ignored.
From the sales side, I'll say this plainly. When marketing and sales don't operate as a system, sales becomes reactive. You chase the wrong conversations, discount too early, and lose deals that should have been won. That's not a sales problem. That's a revenue system problem.
Exactly. Alignment isn't about working harder together, it's about architecture, clear ownership, structured handoffs, and disciplined feedback loops. When those are missing, friction compounds until growth stalls.
And for leadership, this is the real takeaway. Misalignment between marketing and sales can't be delegated away. It reflects how the organization thinks about value, accountability, and decision-making. If the seams are unclear internally, customers feel it immediately.
We covered strategy, positioning, pricing, structure, technology, skills, and culture. But underneath all of it is one core question. Are marketing and sales operating as two adjacent functions, or as one coherent system serving the customer journey?
Because customers don't experience marketing and sales separately, they experience clarity or confusion, trust or doubt, momentum or friction.
The companies that grow predictably don't try to eliminate friction. They design it intentionally. They know where decisions are made, who owns them, and how insight flows across teams.
When marketing and sales truly operate as one system, growth stops being accidental. It becomes intentional.
And before we close, I want to say thank you. Thank you to Brian, Daniel, and Benny for the depth and honesty in these conversations. And thank you to everyone listening. Leaders who are trying to build real, scalable go-to-market systems in complex B2B environments. At Match B2B, this is exactly the work we do every day, helping companies turn marketing and sales from parallel efforts into one operating system that actually supports growth. We'll continue exploring these topics with real cases and real decisions in the next episode of Match B2B Insights. We'll see you in the next podcast.